Thank you all for being here. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm gonna perk it up for you and try not to make this so awful. I call this the Do Better Business Tax Workshop because we have to do better, people. So this is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do better. It's gonna be awesome. I promise I won't bore you to tears. It's gonna be a blast. A little bit about me if you don't know, just so that you know I'm qualified to say everything I'm saying. I'm not making it up and blowing smoke out of my behind. Be careful with this though. When you're hiring professionals, anything to do with finance, make sure you just take a gander at their resume, that they have the credentials that they say that they have. Super important. So I've been doing this a long time. Business tax self-proclaimed guru, is that a thing? Totally gonna be a thing today. Quick little blurb. I get my quotes from anywhere, guys. Even the Players Club. It's an excellent movie. Make the money, don't let it make you. That's the theme for today.
I don't know if it's just me, but it's still on the question. Yeah, we're still on the question slide for some reason.
Oh,
let's see.
Now? No?
It's still on it.
Okay, we'll stop and
we can try again.
Start again. Do you see my face?
Yes, that's better.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, so let me redo that. These are my credentials, a little bit about me, so that you know I'm qualified to tell you everything I've been telling you. I'm also the founder of Complyant and a former Gritty. Complyant is business tax software for all of you business owners. So that's what we do. This is who I am. Let's get to it. Oh, you don't want to? A little quote from Players Club, beautiful movie. Let me just tell you, it's an excellent hood classic. Make the money, don't let it make you. This is the theme of today. I always add a quote because it's important. Quick agenda. We're going to talk half a second about every single one of these things. It feels long, but it won't be. So money anxiety, accounting basics, what is business tax, COVID grants and taxability, deadlines and penalties, and then we'll save time at the end for any questions. Everybody take a deep breath. For a really quick second, I want to touch on money anxiety. It is this sort of overlooked thing that we don't talk enough about, and I just wanted to make sure we gave room for it. Money disorders are persistent patterns of self-destructive and self-limited financial behavior. The psychologist I read about named Dr. Brad Kunst believes that these disorders result from distorted beliefs about money we develop from our financial flashpoint experiences. A financial flashpoint is a painful, distressing, and or dramatic life experience associated with money that are so emotionally powerful they leave a lasting imprint. This affects how we interact and manage not only our own money, but obviously our business money as well. Some of us are working with investment funds, revenue, donations at a scale greater than anything we've ever seen or touched before. So that can be anxiety inducing and majorly scary. So if that's you and you felt that, I just want you to know I see you and I honor you and this is for you and we're gonna kill it. So I just wanted to bring that up because that's super important to me. Okay, so really quickly, I break accounting down into 3 key parts, and this is core to tax. So we're gonna just touch on it for a quick second. And I do it in a way of discussing the what, why, and how. First one is budgeting. It's the first part to accounting. It's basically the preparation for money you're about to receive. This is different than projections. This is money you know that's coming, and you wanna do this because it prevents overspending, and that's a big piece too. When you raise money, you wanna make sure that, the money will last. And then how do you do this? My suggestion is always do it as simply as possible. Don't overcomplicate it, a quick spreadsheet, and you'll get there. You don't need to download anything. You don't even need to go to extremes. Just keep it simple. How much am I getting? What do I plan to spend it on? How long will this last me? The next key basic accounting principle is bookkeeping. Obviously, we all know what that is. It's the tracking of money that you are already getting in. So it's watching what's coming in and out. That's bookkeeping. And you need to do this. It's required so that you can have a completed and accurate tax return. You can't have a tax return based on estimates. Well, you can, but I don't recommend it. It also helps you to prevent fraud. And I put under the how DIY, do it yourself. I do that because a lot of us early stage entrepreneurs, we are so scared of money. We hire whomever we can to hurry up and do the books because we just don't think we're doing it right. I don't recommend that. I am convinced I'm going to teach a 15-minute like bookkeeping in 15 minutes workshop. I swear I'm going to teach one because I absolutely think you can do it just 15 minutes a month, and you can, download some software, create some rules, and it can be really simple. It doesn't have to be that complex. None of you are in construction. None of you are in major manufacturing that I know of. So I would suggest doing it yourself, or at least having a good handle of understanding it. If you give it away and people are being felonious, you have no idea what's happening and you can't explain your own financial reports. And as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to do that. The third one is projections. This is the assumption of how you will make money in the future. And usually you need this for funding. And I always suggest getting help with this because assumptions can be really tricky. You usually have to explain the basis behind your core assumptions. So if you create your own projections, which is usually built on like financial reports, so you'll use like a profit and loss statement and you'll estimate out what those categories will be, 5, 10, 20 years into the future. Usually I recommend not grabbing numbers out of the air and just saying, I'm going to make $5 trillion. And that's why I always say get help, because your assumptions have to be based on something fundamental. So if you've grown 5%, month over month in the past, usually your assumptions will have to be something very similar, something you can explain and not just guess at. Okay. What is business tax? It is broken into 7 different tax types. Most people don't know that. They usually assume that business tax is just income tax, and that is absolutely not true. We're going to go through them really quickly. The first one, obviously, everyone knows is income tax. You pay this to the federal government and to the state if you live in a state with income tax responsibilities. And this is basically tax on the money that your business makes, all income coming in. Payroll tax, we all know that. That's money you pay for W-2 employees only. I get this question a lot. Do we have to pay for 1099s? No, 1099s take care of their own tax. And usually you pay that to the federal and state. I don't know of a state that doesn't have a payroll tax responsibility, but I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Sales tax is a popular one. This is exactly what you think. It's tax on the sale of items, usually products, sometimes services, depending on what state you're in. So you want to be careful about that, making sure that all your invoicing has proper sales tax attached, otherwise you get penalized. The next one is a little known one, business personal property tax, which is basically tax on the assets that the business owns. So think about like a vending business, you would pay tax to the county for your assets, which are the machines. Usually inventory is not included under that asset number. Business licenses, I call these nuisance taxes. They're like these little podunk fees in all these small little cities all over the country, usually city or county level, and they're like $100, $150. Not if you're in LA. LA does the gross receipts, but basically it's tax to operate business within a local municipality. So that gets crazy quick, right? Like you're paying at the city level, county level, state level, and federal level. That's how real business tax is. It is not a one and done thing. So I like to always remind people of that. The final one is annual reports. Annual reports are basically a fee you pay to the Secretary of State for operation of your business. So it's usually a flat fee, not based on any income. In the state of California, it's like $25 every other year or something like that. I just want to be careful to mention, if you have registered your business in a state you do not live in, then you pay the annual report to the state you registered in, let's say Delaware, but you actually have to file as a foreign entity in the state that the business is housed in California. So technically you'll file a form in Delaware, you'll also file one in California, but you only need to pay the income tax to the state you're in, which is California. We can talk more about that later if someone asks questions. Really quickly, a little bit about Complyant. We are business tax software, so we help business owners just like you guys manage all of those tax types I just mentioned. So we do everything from budgeting to helping you understand forms to custom calendar reminders, because obviously this could get out of hand really fast. So I just wanted to pop that quick blurb in. So COVID money, everybody and anybody and almost everybody else got COVID money one way or another. So I just wanted to create a quick breakdown of what applies tax-wise to COVID money and what doesn't. Obviously grants, unless it's specifically stated in the grant funding documentation that it's not taxable, assume that it is always. PPP, even if it's forgiven, is still not taxable. If it's not forgiven, it becomes a liability. So either way, you don't need to pay tax on it. SBA loans, it's liability, you don't need to pay tax on it. Even the grant portion, some of you got that targeted advance or that advance portion or whatever, that's also not taxable. You shouldn't need to worry about that. Unemployment is not taxable up to the first 10,200. So if anybody got unemployment money this last year and it was less than $10,000, you're in the clear. You'll still need to report it, but you don't need to pay tax on it. I just wanted to add a quick blurb about business meals. For this year and next year only, business meals are 100% deductible. So 2021 and 2022 only. It's the COVID-19 boost restaurant incentive that Biden did. In the past, it was only 50%, it is currently 100%. So if you're a DoorDasher like me, you like to buy food for your team like me, you get to write it all off. The last one, I just wanted to pop in a quick blurb about penalties. If you are not, obviously today is tax day if you're an individual, anybody sole props or LLCs filing today. It's the day you must file, must pay. If you cannot, beware, there are penalties that associate with every single thing that you do late when it comes to any government authority. Doesn't even matter. They call it a cost of doing business. They don't want to have to chase you down to come after you for their bills. So this is how they basically regulate it, is they gouge you in penalties. And this is not one of these, they would be all of these. They usually pile them on. So if you filed late, you're going to get a failure to file penalty, a failure to pay, another failure to pay. You'll probably get a late payment if you pay late, and then interest. So they collectively pile them all together and then charge you. Hence why the fee is never just the fee if you do it late. So if you can't do it on time, I always recommend filing an extension. You literally can Google how to file an extension. It's just literally filing a form. I would recommend doing that if you don't think you'll be able to get your taxes done. So I just always want to add that in. And I came in under time. I'm ready. Give me your question.
Wow, that was really fast. And yeah, today is a pretty big day.
Yeah.
So curious to also hear and check in with everyone who's joining, if they've already filed their taxes or if they joined to hear last minute tips. But we'll spend the next 15 minutes going over any questions. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat and we will go over them.
I'll stop sharing just so I can see everyone.
Yeah. And if you don't have any questions, I have a list of questions that were pre-submitted, but feel free to put them in the chat. Let's see. We have one question. It says stack. Do you know what this is, Shiloh?
I'm not sure what the stack piece means, but FTB, I'm assuming they mean the state of California. Automatic, yep, that's just the state though. So that's not including IRS. You still need to file an extension form with the IRS. IRS doesn't do automatic extensions. And I think you said, is that with a fee? No. So here's the thing about fees. You don't have to pay with your extension. You can prepay. If you think you're gonna have to pay, you think you're gonna have some fee, you can file your extension and pay $1,000. Or you can file your extension and pay $0. But either way, if you don't pay on the today and when it's due, you're still going to get a late payment fee, whether you either pay it now or pay it later with a fee. I think that's what you're asking, I hope.
Okay, Claudia is asking, do the rules you shared for 2021 and 2022 apply to self-employed people?
Yes, so that business meal caveat is when you're claiming a business meal deduction on the business portion of your return. That can be a Schedule C, that can be a 1065, 1120, 1120S. Any form you're filing that's reporting business deductions where that business meal deduction line can be populated, that's where you get that 100% deductibility on the meals. Uh, in California, if you get paid for a pilot project, does that count as a service? And how do I find out more about the taxability? A pilot project. I would love to know a little bit more about what you mean. I assume you're saying you got paid to participate in a pilot? Do you want to unmute yourself and
Yeah,
tell me a
feel
bit
free
more?
to unmute yourself.
I think it was Zora.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for the presentation. It was super helpful. I was like taking notes.
Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, so what we do, we have battery diagnostics. We don't have like a commercially viable product that like we can just sell. So a lot of it's just proving that the technology works with different customers. So a lot of this would be engineering costs, essentially, that we're asking customers to pay to do the pilot. So I'm just curious, since that's not like an actual product that we're selling, it's more like a one-time demonstration, if you will. If we actually need to tax those.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Any money the business makes, doesn't matter what you used it for. Any money the business makes, you have to report. Now, you may not have to pay any tax because ultimately you're saying it's a fee you're taking in and you're passing that fee on to pay for whatever you're paying for. As long as you write, complete your return inclusive of that income and inclusive of like all of the fees you paid, you're probably going to come out net zero or less.
Okay.
But you still need to report it. Yeah, all returns need to be completed. I meant to say this in my presentation. Someone asked me that once in Slack, and we went in Slack. Actually, they were like, I didn't make any money. I don't have to pay. No, you do need to file though. You may not have to pay, but businesses are required to file their returns even if they didn't make any money. Specifically, if you are a 1065, 1120 filer.
And if in that situation, is there any sales tax liability on the part of the customer?
No, you said this is a service or a product?
More so a service.
More so? Is there a product component involved?
Most likely not. I mean, if there is a product component, it would be obviously like a separate line item. So it sounds like if we sell them a product as part of it, if they buy a product, we'll have to sales tax. If it's just a service and it's just a product,
you should be fine.
Got it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, state of California is really good about not taxing too many services. Yeah, you should be fine.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We got another question that asked, are there any other new incentives that we should know of as business owners? Like the one with the business meals.
Yeah, so there isn't any that I know of outside of that. I know there are a lot coming, like that opportunity zone credit initiative is going to be massive for business owners. So wherever you want to house your office or your buildings, you could potentially get a butt ton of credits if it's in a certain neighborhoods or certain zip codes. But that's to the extent of it that I've seen so far. But I won't be surprised if there's a lot more coming in the pipeline.
And Emily, I see you raising your hand. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Sure. I tried to type my question and then I got convoluted because it's complicated. I'm
all good.
Trying to buy my house, and I was thinking, I talked to an accountant and she said to wait until next year, and then I talked to loan officers and they said to do it this year. And I'm a sole proprietor currently, and I know when you buy a house, like the goals for your taxes are a little different because you want to increase your income. And so I'm just in that position of trying to figure that out. And then my tax accountant told me that the filing date was today, and I've just had a lot going on. So I know I need to file an extension today, and I just feel so overwhelmed. So any tips or advice you could give? I also am happy to contact you personally.
Please do. And Elizabeth, if you want to drop my email, and I'm happy to connect with everybody.
Yeah.
I do not, we can absolutely have this call offline. It's probably a little bit of a longer answer than we have time for, but I can tell you, do not worry. You are okay. If I were you, I'd go back to that tax accountant and say, go ahead and file me an extension and we'll worry about it in a few months when I have more time to breathe. I'm not sure about the housing piece because different people are going to give you different advice based on different things. So an accountant may tell you you should do it now because there are incentives or something, I don't know. And then the other person may tell you, well, you should wait because there could be better rates. So each thing has its pluses and minuses, but it would really be case by case specific. I don't know the intricacies of your finances to tell you one way or the other, but I don't know, hopefully that was helpful.
That is helpful. I think I just need to reach out to you one-on-one too.
Yes,
so
please. We absolutely, please do. Yes,
Thank you
please
so
do.
much.
You're very welcome.
All right. The next question says, as a new Delaware company, we do not have employees in the US and work only with contractors in Europe. How can it potentially affect taxes and when?
So I'm not sure what you're asking. So if you're a Delaware company and you established it in 2020, before the end of 12/31, you need to file your Delaware form. And then you also will have to file. It doesn't matter if you have employees or not. If you have a business and it is a corporation, you need to file those returns. Doesn't matter if you made money here or didn't, or whatever the intricacies are. You have employees here, contractors, none of those things are make any difference. You still have to file your forms to the state that you reside in, your form to the state where you registered, and then your form to the federal government. Those three things have to happen. I hope that answers your question. Unless you had a payroll specific question, which if you did, please put it in the chat.
Next question is, can you share any nonprofit specific insights?
Oh, nonprofits are quite a bit different because obviously they don't have the same income tax filing requirements, but they do have like some specific forms you have to file. They're like informational forms. I would just say two things: keep very close eye and very meticulous records. Keep close eye on your books and keep meticulous records. It's very different than a regular business. Businesses, you just take a lot, you miss out on opportunities when you don't watch your books and track your expenses. But with nonprofits, not only do you miss out, but you also can get in trouble. So the likelihood of you being audited is a bit higher when you're a nonprofit. So my advice to you would just keep good books. If you don't have a bookkeeping software, find one. And if you plan to hire someone who specifically works with nonprofits and make sure they can provide you with some reference clients that are nonprofits, because sometimes bookkeepers or accountants will say that they can help you and they don't know much about nonprofits and they're just guessing. And you don't want to do that. I am not a nonprofit accountant, I'm a corporate accountant, but I can tell you that the auditing for nonprofits is quite a bit higher. So you'll want to make sure you file your forms every year on time and you keep really good books.
Thank you for that. Next question is, do some proprietor LLCs with no employees file business tax with personal 1040 Schedule C or separately? How does that
It goes on the Schedule C. I knew what she meant. Yeah, it goes on the Schedule C.
I'm glad one of us knows what that means. Okay, next question is, are there any specific tax benefits you can share regarding LLCs versus S Corps?
So they're kind of the same. So business-wise, each business basically gets the same, deductions. That no one business type gets better deductions than another. What benefits you is basically the liability, like who owns the liability. So when you're an LLC, whether you're multi-member or you're a sole proprietor LLC, single member, you hold the like financial responsibility, the tax responsibility, and the legal responsibility of the entity. When you're a corporation, you don't, the corp owns it. But filing wise, it's just probably a little more for like, I don't know, personal preference. Whether or not you want to file as an 1120S or as an LLC really just depends on what forms you want to file, but the responsibility still ultimately falls on you when you're an LLC.
Anna, did you have a follow-up question? I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, I can just show my face and ask it. Hello.
Hey. How are you?
Good. Well, first off, thank you so much for doing this.
Sure.
Well, and this is kind of related to my question. We have a fractional CFO mostly because I have like finances paralysis.
Sure.
But
Money
I,
anxiety too, huh?
yeah, very serious money anxiety, even for like my personal as well. And this
I believe
past
that.
year, even with tax day today, I haven't even looked at anything. But
Ah.
but I was wondering, like, for me as the CEO, like, what are
Mhm,
some habits you would recommend just doing, even if we have a fractional CFO?
mhm.
Like,
I would.
yeah, where should
What
I
were you gonna
start?
say?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, like, what should I do still?
Yes.
Basically.
I would ask that fractional CFO to teach you every month about like teach me the financial reports, and I would ask them to explain to you what's in every category. Take a 30-minute meeting and just pay the extra whatever fee it is, and just ask them to go through the P&L with you, and like, can you explain to me what's in this category, explain to me what are in these categories, why did you come to this. I would suggest continuing to do that. Don't, even though there's quite a bit of anxiety, because I get it. Again, I feel my money anxiety people to the core. But don't shy away from at least getting that person to explain to you how they're coming to the numbers they're coming to. Don't ever just take it for face value. Fractional CFOs or CFO for hires don't usually have much skin in the game. So whether you win or lose, they're unconnected, they're disconnected. So you take the hit and you're just hoping that it's right. I would make them explain it to you. Also, that so that if you get a funding question, like an investor asks, why is your burn so high, or what's why is employment payment, like, make sure you understand that oh, I know what's in here. It's this and this. It won't be this way next quarter. This is a temporary thing. Like, be able to explain what's on your financial reports and make a habit, whether you want to do it monthly or however often your fractional CFO does your bookkeeping. Make sure that they explain to you, have them walk you through the balance sheet, have them walk you through P&L. Do it regularly until you start to feel more comfortable about what's happening in those accounts, and start to feel less anxious every time you open up your bookkeeping or look at a report, like, start to do it more and more until it becomes second nature.
That's great. Yeah, and that a monthly meeting sounds very doable.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I
it.
certainly, absolutely. I certainly recommend it to everyone. Please don't fully disconnect from your company's finances. Do not. I don't know how people are running startups and not having a pulse. I get so many financial questions every meeting with an investor. So what's this number? What's that number? And if I didn't know accounting, I was thinking to myself the other day, how is everybody else doing this? So yes, please don't remove yourself completely from your company's finances, even if you hired someone.
And kudos to you, Anna, for just showing up and wanting to learn and like being open to these tips. I think, that's the hardest thing. It's just taking that first step. I know we
Yeah,
have a couple of questions left, but we're also
sure.
coming on at time. Shiloh, I wanted to give you an opportunity to share more about Complyant. Like,
Oh, sure.
how can people work with you? How can they utilize the platform? Or if they have any follow-up questions, I'll share your contact
Sure.
info. But how can they use Complyant to just make their life a little bit easier?
Sure, totally. Complyant.co, complyant.co, and you can sign up now. There's a free version, free forever, and then there's paid subscriptions to add more entities and get more features and stuff like that. But right now, you can log in, add your business, and you get all your tax deadline reminders that are applicable to your business in one place, so you can lower the anxiety of knowing of whether or not you're late to things. You also can figure out how to tax budget some things that are coming up. There's just quite a few things in there that you can kind of work through. If you get some notices in the mail, tax notices you don't know what to do with, you can submit them in the platform as well. So all those things are what Complyant is here for. And we're going to start kicking off savings to help you save for your upcoming tax bills. And then we'll be initiating payments. So you'll be able to file your returns directly from the platform. So all the things coming for tax. But I just want to say really quickly, I see this mileage question. My like you, download it. It's super easy. Anyway. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. You're going to get my email.
Well,
please email me.
yeah, thank you for coming in today.